All right, what's up, everybody? Can you guys hear me okay? Test, test. 1, 2, 3, 4. 57, 89, 22, 16. All right, what's up, everybody? All right. Excuse me. Let me just make sure YouTube's fired up. Cool, cool, cool. All right. I'm checking the temperature in the room and see if I feel comfortable, if I feel warm or cold. I think I'm good for right now. Beware, you might hear some lawn mowing in the background. That's the landscapers outside. What's up, Don? Hey, YouTubers, I'm gonna shut off the chat on this because I do all the chat in the chat room. So, Don, not meaning to cut you off, but I'm gonna cut you off. I can't watch all the chats. So we kind of give a little sneak preview on YouTube once in a while for those that aren't members. So members, I see you guys loud and clear, and let's take a look at what's happening today. So let's look at futures, good old futures. Again, if you're new, stocks typically run with the market. So if the market's going up, many times the stocks will go up. If the market's going down, same thing with stocks. And then when markets trade sideways and have doji and spinning top candles, then you have lots of indecision. So at this point, we're looking kind of the market possibly doing kind of a cup and handle-ish. We'll have to see if it holds that 9 EMA. If it holds the 9 EMA, then you can see kind of a cup and handle, and then also kind of a bull flag potentially. So you want to see it hold the 9 EMA, and then see if it can go and break out and continue up. So we'll see if it holds support here. So for those who follow me when I stream, I typically myself, I'm not a fan of low floaters. I like medium and higher float stocks. So you'll see our watch list and kind of what I teach on. I try to take you away from the herd. Again, that's just more my style. I would rather scalp 10, 15, 20 cents within, 10, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes rather than 10 to 20 cents within 5 or 10 seconds. It's just my style. Doesn't mean it's bad. If you're new, we highly suggest doing it the way I'm teaching rather than low floaters. If you know how to trade low floaters, you're just going to take the same things I teach you and apply them to low floaters. So you'll see me typically looking at daily and then 5-minute charts, and then looking for entries on a 1 minute. If you're trading low floaters, you're going to basically look at the same things I'm looking at on a 5-minute chart, but you'll be looking on a 1-minute chart. So typically with low floaters, they don't usually have the greatest 5-minute setups, right? Let's see here what we're looking at. So that being the case, we have our watch list at night. We do a combination on our watch list of low floaters, medium, and high floaters, combination of penny stocks, and some that go up to $20. So as far as this morning goes, I'm going to focus again on the ones that I particularly like. If we look at Pier 1 right now, it's not doing much of anything right now. We were looking at this one just for the potential of it doing a possible reversal on the daily. So this is kind of a bullish harami pattern. So we'll see if this can reverse, get above that 933 level. You can see it's kind of overall in this down channel. So, kind of if I just do this kind of. So it's in this kind of down channel. Again, this could reject and fall, or it can turn into kind of a cup and handle. So we want to see, right now it's a little bit bearish at the moment. I want to see if it can get above these moving average lines and create a pattern. This is the stuff I'm looking for, guys. I'm looking for, ideally, this stuff. See this? Pulls up, back to the moving average lines. Goes up, back to the moving average line. Goes up to moving average line, and then, you have 1, 2, this is the third pullback. You got to be careful, and then it dumps. So this is the stuff we're looking for, ideally, when the market comes and opens today. Not saying it's going to happen today. I want to see it get above the moving average lines and then doing this pattern. You don't see this very often with low floaters. On a 1 minute, you might get one of these setups, and then it rips, and then it just kind of dumps. So this is kind of what I'm looking for on the medium and higher float. Pier 1, I just kind of have it off to the side looking. Right now it's not looking great, but got to watch and see if it can get volume and get above the moving average lines. One I was looking at from Trade Ideas was Plug. Where is it here? Let me put it up here. So Plug, I was looking at it because obviously it's falling on the daily. It held kind of doing a hammer. And then I'm looking pre-market. Right now, it's starting to roll over. I was looking at it because it had this kind of flag going up. So at this point, I want to see if it's going to bounce and continue up and get above that, kind of that 230 level. There is lots of moving average line resistance, so I'm not a huge fan of that. So I'm just going to keep it off to the side and see if it can get above 230 and then see what it can do above these moving average lines, if it's going to do anything. Again, if you look at these, very high float. So again, when you see these ones that are higher, these really high ones, they're going to pump and dump a lot less. So higher, or let's see, lower risk, lower reward. Low floats, higher risk, higher reward. Again, so what you're looking for when you're trading, this bull flag or kind of ascending triangle that you're seeing on the 5 minute I'm showing you here, this is the same thing that you're going to be looking for on a low floater, except for you're going to look for it on a 1 minute. You know, because typically you won't see a lot of this. You might get one shot that might be messy on a 5 minute chart on a low floater with candlesticks and wicks and shadows, and then it goes and then it dumps. So at the moment, I'm not really digging any of these. I'm probably going to wait for the high a day scanner to kick in and see if there's any better ones to look at. Let me see if I can find any that's been... Our watch list the past couple days have been awful. So I'm not finding the greatest setups. The couple that I'm possibly looking at as well that were on the watch list from a couple days ago is NDRA. So you can see here, this is actually kind of a lower... Actually, this one might be from last night's watch list, actually. So here's a low floater from last night's, I think, watch list. You'll see this one maybe trying to creep up. If you can get above that 211 marker, there is a gap on the daily right here. So this is a lower float, so kind of an inverse head and shoulders. See if this thing can gap up and go and fill the gap. So if you like low floaters, this might be a sleeper, right? Not a lot of volume right now. Keep you away from the herd. See if the market, when it opens, if it holds this 211 area, and then can go and see what happens within the gap over in here. One that was on our watch list recently was WKHS. This one's creeping. So this one, you can see it's kind of at the top of this channel. I don't like how it's overextended. It has this weird kind of hammer bounce off the 9 EMA. I wanted to see if this thing will pop above $3. If it can pop above $3, it's kind of a medium to higher floatish stock. If it can go, you know, anywhere from 3 to 328, you know, there's a potential of that potential to move 28 cents or so. You might be able to scalp 10 or 15 cents or something out of that. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on that, see if this will get above $3 or see if it's going to go in reverse and fall. At the moment, again, I'm pretty much going to wait for this high day scanner to kick in because there's not a whole heck of a lot that I'm personally liking. I will show you from Trade Ideas, just to show you guys. We do post the gappers for Trade Ideas every morning by 9:15 a.m. and then our watch list over here. So again, right now I'm not digging anything moving right now. I'm just going to keep my charts. As you'll see, I have a couple different charts like this set up, guys. So if you're wondering what I'm doing and looking at, I kind of have this. I'm just going to wait and see some patterns, see if they form. Sometimes they happen soon. Sometimes they might take 45 minutes or an hour. That's where patience kicks in, or you need to have patience. But for those of you guys that want to look at trade ideas, we post the gappers right here every morning, and you'll see some that are hitting trade ideas. HIVE, I think HIVE had a buyout or an acquisition today. So if you look at HIVE, so this one popped up. It's one, I think it's an acquisition. Maybe not. Let's see. I just don't like when they trade sideways like that. That's just not, I don't dig that type of pattern. So if you look at, let's say, ACST. So this one, again, you can see ACST has 1 million volume. Looks like it's got some news. So, I mean, pumped up to $1.39, dump back down. So what you want to see with this one, again, kind of has a bigger overall, or kind of, there was a cup and handle there. This is kind of, you got this nasty looking wick up here. So you can see that puts you right around 139. That's way up here. So you can see that puts you right, pre-market high puts you up here. It can, you know, it can go up, you know, anywhere in this area, some 140 to 180, but here's kind of a big middle finger right now. So now you got to watch and see. This is where, again, you're contending against this, basically this big middle finger right here. So on the way up, it's got this resistance between here and here. So, you know, at any point, that's where you got to learn candlesticks. It could form a reversal and a double top failure. So you want to see it get above that 139. Again, that's just me personally. I stay away from this stuff. I look more at the patterns, which I showed you guys on plug, but plug is kind of dumping right now. Next one on trade ideas that has some volume. Wait, what was that one? GEMP or GEMP. I think that's a pot stock. Let's see. Is it a pot stock? Could be wrong. Not quite sure. But again, see that, guys? Another middle finger. Popped up, dumped back down. Kind of has that falling wedge. Kind of crappy pattern. So not a fan of that one right now. What else? So as you can see, the top two I'm showing you on trade ideas, ACST and GEMP, completely dumping. RIOT. Another one. This one pumped up to 430, dumping back down. This may, again, this is where you'd watch. And let's see here in a 1 minute. So you want to see the moving average lines crossing like this. Then you want to see if there's a 5 minute setup, gets above the moving average lines. And then obviously see, you know, anywhere from 375 up to 430, watch the candlestick pattern, see if it's going to continue up. You want to see ideally bull flags or ascending triangles, stuff like this, or the bull flags I was showing you guys. The problem is, guys, right now there's just not a lot of setups. So that's why we're going to wait for the open. So that's 3 right now. I don't like the setups on, you know, RIOT, GEMP, ACST. This is where I kind of zoom in. I zoom in on stuff like, let's say maybe UWT or STM, kind of ones that are under the radar. Let's see if anything's going with either of those. Yeah, this is the stuff I like right here. So I'd like to see it back near the moving average lines on the daily. not kind of up in the air like this. But, you know, just to kind of show you guys, connecting my trend lines here kind of like this. It's kind of a rising wedge. Now, typically many times rising wedges, when they hit resistance, they fall, right? But you can see this one looks like it might be breaking out 1580, right? So you can see there's a gap on the daily right here. So now we're going to see if this will fall or if it'll hold. So right between, what the heck? $14.21 down to right down here. So here's a gap down here. It's above the gap. It's continuing up. There is actually another gap right above. Right here between that $17 to $18. So you can see this one's just kind of moving up. Now at this point, I want to see if this thing's going to flag and hold and continue to break out, or if it's just going to dump. So this is kind of what I like to look right here. What's up, MBF? So I'm going to look at UWT down here and probably wait for the scanner to kick in. So at this point, I'm looking right here. I'm going to put a 1 minute chart up. You can see it's a little bit bearish at the moment. You can see it's farther away from that 9 EMA. So I want to see that 9 EMA catch up on a 5 minute and see if it'll bull flag and hold. Kind of do this. Right? So see if it can get above the moving average lines, kick in, give you a nice 5 minute setup. It's a bit overextended. This is the stuff I'm looking for. This could fail and just dump down. But that's where I want to see if the 9 EMA will catch up and bring it up. Good to hear your typing voice. Where have I been? That's a very good question. Lots of back-end stuff. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. And then more lots. All right, guys, so let's wait for the market to open and see for these scanners to kick in. And at this point, I'm looking for setups, keeping an eye on plug. I actually might click over to that one. So guys, if you're listening to me in my style, when I'm looking at these medium and higher float stocks, I'm not looking to rush. So I'm looking right over here at more of a 5 minute setup, which is slower. It might take a while. It might take an hour for me to find setup. It might take 10 minutes. It might take 5 minutes. Or it might take to the afternoon. We might not see a setup. If you're a low floater, you're going to be paying attention over here to the 1 minute. Ideally, you'd like to see a 5 minute setup, but many times they won't happen. You got to be very quick. I might switch over to Overstock now. Overstock.com. This is one that we were looking at, or that was on our watch list. It didn't do what we were looking at recently, but now you can see potentially some volume coming in. So I might keep this one on watch as well. See if it forms a pattern. Thanks, Philip. So with Overstock, just to show you what I was looking at, it didn't break out the way we were looking at the other day, but it's kind of fallen back down. The 9 and the 20 might be crossing, so that may be flagging potentially on the daily. Maybe you can see that 1150 something resistance. So this is where I'd like to just see like patterns, see if it's gonna. You can see a possible triple bottom, see if it forms a flag and maybe a chance to go up. You can see these you know, these areas, 1150 to 12 to 12 to 1230, you know, if it forms a pattern, you know, these are 50-cent windows that you might be able to scalp 10, 15, 20 cents that nobody's looking at. So you want to see the volume build on it more, obviously. Oh, UWT. Let's go take a look at that one. So this one may be flagging. Gonna watch over here. I'd like to see it down a little bit further near the 9 EMA. But at this point, see if this is gonna give you a 5-minute pattern to hold, and then see if it can go and break out above that 1581 level. Now let's see if it'll continue up. So if you're looking at the 1 minute here, starting to move away from the moving average lines a little bit up here. 1581 is high a day. Just be aware that the 5-minute candle hasn't formed yet. This is the stuff we start to look at again. You can see these flags. I typically like to see them a little bit closer to the moving average lines. So many times I'll let the 5-minute, you know, the 5-minute candle form, watch for a pullback, see if the 9 EMA will catch up, and then I look for like a 5-minute flag on a 5-minute. So broaching high a day. So this is where, again, on a 1 minute, you can play this quicker. On a 5-minute, you could just just kick back, let the pattern form. It's all your style. If you like to be quicker, you know, here's something you can get in and maybe get a smaller scalp really quick within a couple minutes. Or if you're like, hey, I'm just going to chill, sit back, let this 5-minute candle form, see if it'll go. If it breaks 1581, then you want to see that retest hold. Right here, so right below that 1581, don't be surprised if it starts pulling back. And if not, then you might have kind of an ascending triangle. Then you want to see if it can get above that 1581 and watch if the retest will hold. Alright, so now it's getting above 1581. Now watch and see if you can get a candle retest right over here and hold. Just be aware it's a bit overextended on a 5-minute. And you can see kind of a shooting star. That's a possible warning of a possible reversal. So that could either completely drop and form kind of a double top, or it might flag on a 1 minute and just let the 9 EMA catch up. Alright, so now it's getting above. See if it gives you a retest. So you got kind of a V-bottom kind of pattern. There you go. Now here's where you got to be careful. These bigger candlesticks kind of breaking out. You can say, ah, darn, I waited for the 5-minute. I missed my entry. Well, that happens, right? So if you're waiting on a 5-minute, you'd want to see it pull back. If you've been playing this on a 1 minute, you know, you could be up, 13 cents right now. Take your profits. Or watch and see if there's a close below right here. 1580. So you guys see this? Right here, at some point it's going to want to pull back, right? So it broke out above pre-market highs. Watch and see if it's going to come back and kind of flag back down, or if it's going to do something like this, reverse, and just slam back down. Potential warning candle on a 1 minute. There you go, right back down. You guys seeing this? This is a big warning. So this is where the bulls are pushing it up. Bears are trying to push it back down. You had another warning right here at resistance. You had one more candle breakout. So at this point, you want to see if it's going to flag and hold back down. That's a big warning right there. That's a long-legged doji candle. Doesn't mean it can't continue up, but that's your warning. So watch for it to come back down and see if it'll hold that 1580. So now you can see high day is 1590 right here. So actually now I just kind of reset it. And so you can see this 5 minute candle hasn't formed yet, but it's giving you a potential shooting star, which is a bearish candle. So you can see stock goes, breaks out, comes back down. Now that's an evening star pattern. That's not a good sign. Great job, Thien. Let's take a look at the morning scanner, see what's happening. Sometimes Thinkorswim takes a while to pull up the scans. Huh, why is that happening? There we go. All right, so here we go on a 5 minute or on a 1 minute. You can see possible cup and handle, see if it holds the 9 EMA, but just be aware of that 5 minute candle as well. You might just give it another moment look at this. If you're looking at a 1 minute of UWT, you're kind of looking and seeing, okay, is this kind of a cup and handle-ish? So kind of a cup handle, see if it holds and will break out. Now you got this. This is going to get this a little wonky right here. So now it's kind of this possible, what do we do now? Is it going to go and break out, or is it going to form a double top failure back down? It's contending with this doji candle over here. So this is where on a 1 minute you can get stuck and this can mess you up. If you're looking at a 5 minute like with that I typically like, I'm just like, okay, let this thing play out. I can see in a 5 minute it's overextended. I want to see it stair step down. I want to see it go up, come back down, let this 9 EMA catch up, and then form a, a 5 minute flag. So something, I don't like that doji candle, but something like this, let it go up, come back down here on a 5 minute, hold, and then maybe a possible flag on a 5 minute to continue up. See, there you go, huh? That one little 1 minute candle pops up. Now you want to see if it's going to hold that 1590 area. So for me, if I'm looking at a 5 minute, I'm missing some potential scalps. But that's, again, the difference of some people like these 1 minute quick moves like boom, boom. But if you want to just let time form, this is where now I can start to kind of do this, right? So now what I like about this is I can form trend lines, right? So I can kind of connect these lines and these levels, and I can say, okay, putting this together, that's a rising wedge pattern, right? So when I connect these tops, you can see now I connected these two areas. There's no wonder why it rejected here. So now you got to see, is it going to go and break out of that rising wedge, or is it going to fall and fail it? And you can see it's kind of inside of that right now. This is, so if you're new and learning trading, you got to learn these trend lines and the candlesticks. They kind of all kind of coincide together. I want to look at Pier 1 right now for a moment, because that one's getting hammered. But this is to show you guys of a possible reversal right down here. So you can see as it's selling off, many times as it's selling off, gets oversold, it might want to make a push to the moving average lines. So you guys see here, this is where, if you're doing a 5-minute chart, you could watch and see if there's a doji, a smaller one, that'll let you risk off of it. You know, here's a possible base right here. If you get a smaller green kind of doji candle here, you might risk off of that back to the moving average lines. Or if you're doing a 1-minute chart setup, you might look at that little 1-minute hammer right here back up to the moving average lines, depending on how quick you want to trade it. So I'm watching this one right now to see, is it going to give a 5-minute hold, a decent pattern? So I'm going to watch and see in this area if it's going to give me a little bit of confirmation. Let's go over to plug. So as again, just to show you guys, I'm just being patient and I'm showing this stuff over here, right? So I just got my charts up here. You can see UWT kind of in a rising wedge, and it's pinching. So it's a little showing possible reversal. Now plug might be one to look at. So right here, again, PIR. Watching this 5-minute candle form, this may be forming tweezer bottoms on a 5-minute. We'll have to watch and see. And now this one right here, plug. This one may be moving up. So now look at that 230 resistance level. So it had tweezer bottoms and almost tweezer tops, kind of equal. So now you can see moving average lines starting to pinch and cross. Now you can watch with this one, see if this one have a, you can kind of use this as support, this 223 area. So now you can see if this moving average lines will separate, it has some volume coming in. So showing you guys different looks, right? So you can see a stock that I was looking at that was bigger, you know, watching to see as it's selling off, possible reversal pattern. And then right here, UWT that was moving up, it's pinched, and now you can see it's kind of starting to fail, potentially, that rising wedge pattern. So that's where I think you guys were saying with DWT, right? So if you look at DWT, yeah, I was looking for a reversal on this one. So yeah, this is not so hot. Let me move this one over. Let's take a look at the high day scanner. Let's see if there's something that's popping up here. So for those looking at ACST, it's getting above this 122 level. If it can hold, watch for 139 as resistance. I personally like to see some flags. Just to show you guys that PIR for a moment. So PIR, it's a little bit all over the place. Pier 1 on a 1 minute. I was just looking right here. So you can see kind of right here. $8.10 down to $7.9. So here's a 15-cent candle tweezer bottoms. This is where you would look at a possible reversal, and then you got to determine, you know, are you gonna, if you were to risk on something like this, you would say, okay, you know, 15-cent candle, does it have a chance to make 15 cents? Potentially. And you can look at moving average lines as resistance levels. So this is a possible reversal. But here's the problem. Look at this right off the bat. Terrible volume. So I would just totally not even look at that right now. You want to see some volume. 20,000 volume's terrible. Moneymaker says, low float, medium float. Can you give us numbers for each? That's a very good question. So I kind of just use this little tab right over here for shares on Thinkorswim. Shares is not float. However, just to show you guys something real quick with INO. Let's just look at this real quick and then remind me if I forget to answer that question. This is what I start to look at right here. High a day 280, possible pennant pattern forming, a little bit overextended on a 5-minute, but if you're looking at a 1-minute, you're zooming in on this right now. Kind of do this. You're looking at this. Again, you want to see it go. Just be aware if you're looking at a 1-minute and it looks potentially good, be aware that the 5 minutes overextended. It may want to pull back. Let me take a look at the daily real quick and see. So this one has some room to run. This is the stuff I personally like to look at right here. You can see some support right around that 270-ish area, right below that 9 EMA. Looks like it's got some news. It's a higher float stock, which I'll explain in a second. High a day now 280. So this one may be doing a reversal on the daily. Let's take a look at the hourly. Possibly breaking out on the hourly. $3 is going to be resistance as well. Up, and there you go. Right here. So this again still didn't even give you, if you risked off of a 1-minute, you know, it's still moving up. 5-minute, I would have waited for it to come back here a little bit, but it's just taken off. So at this point, just kind of wait and see. I bet you this is probably hitting trade ideas, right? Let's take a look. Yep, there you go. So here's a perfect example, guys. The moment it hits trade ideas, which we love, it's a great scanner, but the moment it hits trade ideas, it just goes crazy, and there you go. Takes off. Once it hits trade ideas, it breaks the pattern for me. So this is the ones where, again, me personally, I try to watch the ones that are not hitting those, because then I get typically better patterns. So at this point, you had a 1-minute shot. If you're looking at a 5-minute setup, now you just got to wait for this thing to pull back. Where I'd kind of look at something like, go back to UWT. UWT, kind of rolling over on a 1-minute, you can see that rising wedge pattern. But this is where I would zoom in a little bit. You see potential of a flag. So right here, I want to see this 9 EMA catch up and see if it gives you a flag on a 5-minute. So it's, you know, 20 minutes into the market. This may, if it forms a flag, it might take another 15, 20 minutes. And then, but if it does, and I get a, you know, a 5-minute confirmation on here, this is going to be a little bit. All I'm doing is I'm slowing down the process. If you don't like this slow process that I'm teaching you right now, then you come over here and you look at the 1 minutes, right? So what I'm teaching you over here on a 5-minute, you just move over to a 1-minute if you want to be, you know, scalping and getting in and out really quickly. So going back to what Moneymaker's question was on float. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get used to this. I have like all these different screens, and I'm looking out the trade room and talking to you guys. Okay, so back over here to shares. Shares is basically shares outstanding. It's typically higher than the float of a stock. So I just use this as a gauge. So anything when you see it's under, you can say I have a high scanner, a higher float one. You can do a low float scanner. But just show you right over here, anything that's under 10 million shares, like NDRA, ATOS, RTTR, very, very low float. That means high pumps, high dumps, and typically not the greatest patterns, at least on a 5 minute. You usually get one, maybe 2 1 minute setups, and the moment it hits trade ideas, the patterns get crazy. So you look kind of over here. Here is NDRA today, not doing anything. Let's look at here. Oh, this is from our watch list. Let's go to, let me show you morning scan right here. So here's HIVE. That's actually kind of a medium float. Let's look at this one, CPAH. So this is what you would look for in a high float stock or a low float stock. So right here, if you're doing a 5 minute setup, it's terrible. But if you were looking at a 1 minute, you would have probably seen high a day right at 213. See it kind of curve right in here. You can see smaller candlesticks here. The moment it breaks $2 and gets high a day, or breaks high a day, then you have right here. You got to be quick, and then it dumps, right? Head and shoulders dump. So if you're like a trader like me and you want the good 5 minute setup, you're not getting it here. If you're a scalper and you want to get in and out, you got to have cojones of steel, get in and contend with this over here. Look over at UWT, right? So now UWT, this is what I'm looking for. Again, it had a bounce. It hasn't even formed yet. I'd like to see a candle closer to that 9 EMA, but it's already bouncing, right? You can see a morning star pattern here. So now this is one to look at and see, okay, what's that, 1589 down to 15. This is one to keep an eye on. Watch this candle, see what happens on a 5 minute. In Pier 1, got a bug. I'm going to show you guys. Remind me if I forget to show you guys. Pier 1 had a reversal. However, the volume hasn't still kicked in. So you don't like to see that. But this right here, this is good. I like to see this right here. This is what I'm kind of looking at right here. Is it going to form a flag and let the 9 EMA catch up? That's what I'm looking for, is to see this. Let it go up, come back down, and see if it holds. Right? So it'll trade around in this flag on a 1 minute, but on a 5 minute, you want to see, is it going to hold that 9 EMA? So I have this up on my other screen, just kind of watching to see if that flag holds. So again, go back to those low floaters, right? Here's Mara. 5 minute setup. Didn't have one. 1 minute. Maybe right in here you would have maybe looked at it, still farther away. Again, probably hit trade ideas, went up, pumped right back down. RIOT, same thing. Bitcoin stock, right? That's a roller coaster. So for those of you guys, we'll take a moment. Actually, let's hold on. Just still looking at UWT. All right. Still watching UWT to see if it holds that 5 minute. But Bitcoin, you're seeing probably a lot of news about Bitcoin, right? And so Bitcoin's hitting everywhere, and it looks like it's getting pumped again. But if you're new, we're not hating on Bitcoin. We're not telling you to not buy it or anything like that, but we're showing you, again, we're chartists. We're teaching you support and resistance. When you look at a Bitcoin chart, you can see, I mean, this thing is flying. You know, it looks like it's just look at it. It's getting a pump. The problem is, like, the pro traders, the ones that know what they're doing, they're buying down at these levels right here, moving average lines down in these areas, and then they're probably just pumping it up. I'm not saying Bitcoin's not going to be good long term. I'm just saying if you're new, you know, I saw a chart, I saw somebody post recently about Bitcoin. Hey, I just bought. Why did anytime I Bitcoin? Why do I buy? Or they say, why every time do I buy Bitcoin, it just completely drops? Because they're probably buying way out here, right? They're buying out in these levels right here. So again, chat room, these people are pumping it. I'm not hating on it long term. I'm just saying, as a trader, you want to buy at support, sell at resistance. So the pumpers are pumping it up here. They get positions down here, and then they dump it up here, and then freak out all the new traders that lose their money. And then they kind of like has a few days, kind of comes back up. Maybe they get here, pump it up for a few days, dump it back down. New traders start freaking out. They start pumping it again. Now all the hype is hitting it. Again, this thing can go. It could go and break 20,000, or it can dump, right? But if you're a chartist, this is, again, super overextended, way away from support levels. It's very risky. But could it go and break out of 13,000, go to 20,000? Sure. Absolutely. But I just want to show you guys what to look for when you're buying any type of stock, right? You got to look for these patterns and buy at support levels down near these moving average lines, down here, right? Once it gets away from them, way out here, it gets risky. I mean, this thing could move up to 20,000 in a couple days, or this thing could drop. I mean, it could drop like a rock. So hopefully that helps you guys. So that same thing goes with the market, right? When people are like, well, why is the market falling? Why is it not doing anything? Oh my gosh, my 401k is falling. What's happening? Look at the patterns, right? The market is at all-time highs, right? What goes up is going to come back down at some point. Traders want to take their profits. So when you see markets at all-time high levels, up here and up here, people take their profits. News happens, things happen, right? So when you have the bulls and the bears duking it out, when people are buying and selling stock, it's not like it's hidden, right? So if a billionaire is going in and buying and selling stock, it's not like it's hidden from the charts. That leaves clues, right? Those clues are candlesticks, and if you put it together and you see the charts and you're able to kind of see the patterns and draw your trend lines, you get early warning signs. You see a shooting star candle like this at resistance, that's saying, hey, that's a warning, that's potentially going to reverse. But most people, what they'll do is they'll turn on the news at the end of the day. They'll be like, stock market's down 5% today. And they're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to my 401k? And you're just like, dude, like, if you put time and you learned, right, you would have learned that's a candlestick at resistance. Hey, that's possibly coming back down. Oh, that could be a cup and handle pattern. Oh, that's what it should be doing. Could it fail and dump? Absolutely. But maybe it's at resistance. It needs to pull back because people want to buy at support and not at resistance. But new traders, they're buying at resistance and then selling at support during panic, and then they wonder, and then you know what they do? They blame the market, right? Why is every time I buy a stock, it dumps on me and it falls? Probably because you bought on the hype after it's been hyped up. You bought at resistance levels because you're listening to some guru or some chat room or some news service. And then, meanwhile, it falls back down after you've sold it. And then people get reentry again, right? They're buying at support, moving average lines, selling out here at resistance levels. Thien says, when I'm scalping pennies, I plant the seed and want the fruit. Hold on a second. Let me look at UWT again. Just showing you guys what I'm looking at for that one. Ah, see, it turned red. See, still no candle green yet. It was going green and red, green and red. So just seeing, you guys see kind of this channel? It's either going to fail it, right? It's either going to fail or it's going to potentially hold and give you a chance. This is what I'm looking for. A flag like this on a 5-minute. See if it gives you a doji or a little hammer to risk off of for a potential breakout. I'd look at $16 as resistance. If it fails, it fails. I'll look at something else. So at this point, guys, I'm going to keep UWT up. I'm going to look at it, and now I'm going to see if there's any other patterns forming. This right here, garbage. INO, as we know, I showed you guys earlier, it hit trade ideas. Pattern right now, it's garbage. Want to see, I mean, it's just got like a big head right there. It's got a high wave candle. Creedmoor with the funny meme. Let's see what he is. Creedmoor with the funny. Let me show you guys here. Right up here. I don't know if you can just... will it show that? Let's see. We are moving the accounts over to Bitcoin. Finally, it rises. I'm telling you guys, it'll dump again. Mark my words. Can you make still a ton of profit? Absolutely. But, I mean, at this point right now, you got to watch it like a hawk. So my whole point being is, if you're a person that's not trading, right? You're not a trader, you want to be an investor long term. And then you hear Bitcoin right now and it's all over the news. If you don't plan on watching that chart like a hawk and you don't look for a possible reversal pattern when you get in, you could buy at 12,000 today and it can go to 6,000 in a week from now if you're not careful. Like, that's the volatility. It could also go from 12,000 to 20,000. But my point being is, if you don't know where you would sell, if you don't see possible reversal or warning signs, and you just like, hey, I'm going to buy now because everybody's telling me Bitcoin's the wave of the future. Well, Bitcoin's already proven it's gone from 20,000 down to 3,000. No one's saying it can't do that again. And also no one's saying that it can't go up to 40,000. But you have to know where to take your profits and where to get your entry. So you could, the same thing goes with every stock I'm talking to you. Whether you're buying Bitcoin, pot stocks, or Apple. You want to buy at support levels, sell at resistance. And this is the stuff we teach you guys every single day. And as of right now, you're seeing, I'm just trying to teach you guys stuff. Right now, everything sucks what I'm looking at. Not really good. But we'll see if there's any more setups. You got to be patient. So we'll show you again UWT, and we'll look at see some other stuff right here. UWT still hasn't formed yet. It's not looking good, definitely now at the moment. It's failing, right? But as I was telling you guys, I was looking for a 5-minute setup off this 9 EMA. It's bouncing off VWAP, so we'll see if it holds or if it's just going to tank. I'd like to see something kind of hold and get above that. This one's a little bit weirder. It's cup and weird handle-ish. It's got this weird pre-market high of 195. This is one that could just have this weird setup right here. So you can have this. I wouldn't discount it completely. You can kind of do this. Possible symmetrical triangle. See if it can hold. Right now it's failing. So this is kind of all over the place. Show you with PIR before I go look at some other ones. This is what you were looking for, right? Something like this to move back to the moving average lines. So in theory, this looks good. Tweezer bottoms, risk off this, back to the moving average lines. That looks good in theory, But what doesn't look good, see the volume's just terrible. You'd like at least a few 100,000 volume. So this is what I would look for. If they had 3 or 4 or 500,000, then I may have potentially risked to scalp 10 cents out of this. So that's what I like, but I don't like the volume. Go back and show you guys UWT. Failing. As you guys can see, it's failing on the 5-minute, and now it's failing VWAP. So at this point, I'm going to reset the drawings. High a day, 1590. Want to see if it will get back, maybe bounce, get above the 9 EMA. If it doesn't, who knows? This might happen not at all today, or maybe it'll come back a little while later. Just kind of see how I just kind of reset the drawings. This channel, it's failing it now. I'm going to look at something else. So here's a high float stock. This one broke out. So I had some nice, kind of a couple nice 1 minute setups. It had to deal, like you'll see this whole chart right here had to deal with this entire big red candlestick this morning. So let's look at the daily. Can't see the chart. So you can see that red line right there is the 20 EMA. Right around that 815 level. Kind of right in here, right? You guys see this? This was a double, or actually a triple top failure right in here. Failed down, but now you can see kind of a bigger potential inverse head and shoulders. So this is one I would actually keep a look at and see, okay, right around that 815 to 820s level is some resistance. So, you know, you can see high day 806, super high float. So this thing will move like a snail. But you can see it broke out above 8, whole dollar amount. See if it gives a 5-minute hold. It's a bit overextended. It may fail. But if it holds, then you can see, okay, maybe this has the potential 8 to 815, 820. It might have a 15 to 20 cent move to resistance. Maybe you scalp 10 cents on a higher float stock and it grinds. Or this thing could just fall and go over. But this is what I would look for, right? I want to see this 9 EMA catch up and see if it forms a flag at some point. So I'm going to put this on watch to the side. Don't like it right now, but I'm going to see if it forms a 5-minute hold at $8. Go back again, show you guys UWT. See that? Failing that channel. Bunch of garbaccio. Now you have kind of a head and shoulders pattern. Potential. So you have head, left shoulder, kind of broke that neckline. So head, left shoulder. Now it could get a bounce at some point. Now it's contending with left shoulder and head. All right, so ESV was on our watch. Oh, wait, this is the one I was just showing. Never mind. EVH was the one that was on our watch list the other day. All right, so let's look at this one. Really high float, possible ascending triangle. Right, so you guys can connect these. This one got some crazy looking candles going like this. Possible ascending triangle breakout. Got to contend with that 284 level on the hourly. So it's potentially bullish on the hourly. On a 5-minute. Let's look at the daily. So kind of cup and handle-ish. Got to deal with that 285. So you look at this and you're just like, this is the stuff I want to show you guys. Again, this one has the potential to move up 10 cents or so to resistance. Super slow as a snail, right? Very slow. But again, not saying to trade this one by any means, but just look at the fact of this could be one of those ones where you know, it's a 275 stock. It has the potential. Doesn't mean it's going to. You might try to scalp 5 or 6 cents out of 10 cents and get out and let it just kind of be slower. Just another way to look at stuff, especially today. It's just a bunch of garbage today. I don't like it. Just want to show you the theories, though. Again, super high float. So I actually, you know what? I never got the answer to that Moneymaker's question earlier. Under 10 million, very low float. Under 20 million, low float. Then when you start to get 50 to 100 million shares, that's medium to higher float. And then anything over 100 million, it just gets like higher float. So 100, 150 million, high float. I mean, over that, this is super high float. So basically what that means is just less pumping and dumping. When stock breaks out, you know, on a low float stock, you know, it might break out, it might break out 30, 40, 50 cents, $1. Whereas something like this, if it breaks out, it might break out 5, 10 cents and then slow grind, you know. Vladdy, I like to typically see at least a few 100,000. It all depends what you're trying to do. Like if you're trying to buy 10, 20,000 shares on a stock that only has 200, 300,000, that could be a problem, right? But if you're looking to scalp, you know, again, remember, most new traders don't have giant brokerage accounts. They have 5,000 to 30,000 in an account. And they're just trying to slowly grow. Well, they should slowly try to grow the account, but most new traders, they get FOMO and they want part of the action. They want to get rich quick and all that stuff. So then that's where they pretty much blow up their accounts. But you should be trying to like slowly build that account up. Buy 1,000, 2,000 shares. Scalp 10 cents. You know? Scalp 15 cents. Don't try to hit home runs. I mean, I could easily show you guys today. Very simple. If you want to know where the action is, here's where it is. It's over here. Morning scan. And then just look at the low floats. Grow. Here we go. This is where some action is right now. Right in here. So here was your shot right here. Possibly it's still a little bit overextended. Here's your one shot, and now it's probably hitting trade ideas, let's say. Is Grow hitting trade ideas? Yep, Grow hit trade ideas at 10:13. If you're new and you're like, how the heck did he know it hit trade? I'm not even looking at trade ideas until now. How did I know it hit trade ideas? Here's your pattern. It's a low float stock. gained volume, boom, pumped up, now it's dumping back down. Again, what I'm showing you guys all pertains if you just, as you can see, I haven't liked anything on my style this morning. It's the same thing, bull flag back here, and then take your profit. You know, whereas my 5-minute setup style, I'm looking for 5-minute entries and reversals. Right here, you would come over here. Don't even bother on a 5-minute. There's no 5-minute setup here. Super overextended. Right? See how far price is, these huge candles away from the 9 EMAs. If you're new, you're never going to trade this stuff. You know? So I'm trying to teach you the safe way to trade as a new trader. If you know how to trade, then you're going to be over here saying, hey, cool, I got it. Boom, I scalped, I got out. ESV is still moving up from earlier. Let me go back over here. You can see EXTR is moving up to high a day. Let's look at daily. So this one's interesting. EXTR broke out. You can see some support right around that 603. So kind of a double bottom breakout. Some support down here. A high of day at 615. This has some room to go up to about that 630s level before it hits some resistance. It's contending with that 615 bearish candle there. So this one, I'd look at it and say, okay, if on a 1 minute, you can kind of draw kind of in this channel right here. So if you're looking like my style, you're seeing on a 5 minute, this is a bit overextended. It may be forming a doji candle or so right below resistance. I'm going to go put it on watch. Just like ESV, that one didn't pull back yet. It's actually still going. So let me go back over to that one. So right here, I'd like to see this. What I want to see on EXTR, I'd like to see the 9 EMA catch up and see if it gives you a little bit of a pullback of a flag for an entry. Again, a little bit overextended. For a potential break of 615, if it can break 615, then it's got 15 to 20 cents to move or so. It's a higher float, 118 million. So you can see right up here, here's your window. If it breaks and holds 615, then anywhere from 615 to 638, you know, look at the candlestick patterns, see if there's a, you know, that's where it might be a scalp. But if it can't break 615, then it might roll over. This is where you can see, look at this channel here. And ESV, this one out I was showing you guys earlier, still didn't get that pullback at $8 that I was looking for. But look at it, it's contending with this right up here, anywhere from 815 to 830. So I'd like at this point now, you can see it's kind of doing that rising wedge pattern, so I'd probably just do this. Do this. So you can see it's near resistance now. And you can see these candles are kind of like high wave spinning top candles. Sometimes they give you a warning, right? And they don't come back. They just keep going up, and they kind of go in like a channel. Actually, that's on a 1 minute, it's good, but now it's kind of in a, on a 5 minute, it's a different channel up here. So this is possibly going to reverse. Look at, I might go back to looking at UWT. Patience may be paying off. Let's see. You can see kind of a hammer here. Want to see if it gets above that 9 EMA. If so, look at that 1581. You want to see it get above that area and that 1591. So you can see head, left shoulder. Remember I told you head and shoulders? So now it's kind of bouncing back up right now. Head and shoulders get very, very tricky at times. So at this point, it needs to get above 1581 to break that left shoulder, and then above that 1591. Just to show you guys an idea for shorting, for those that people wonder, like, hey, what does shorting look like? If you pull up ESV, this is where you would start to look at it. Not on this particular stock. If you look at ETB, easy to borrow on Thinkorswim, means it should be shortable. So this is what you start to look at. Stock gets near existence or overextended at resistance. You start to look for these potential reversal candles where you might take a short below this candle using a close above that as your stop. The only thing I would say with this stock where I wouldn't necessarily do it, I'd want to see more profit potential. So right now, $8.05 down to $8 or so. That's only 5 cents or so. So just pretend that you had a lot more room. Let's say this is 20 or 30 cents down and you see a possible reversal candle. You could take a short below it using a close above it as your stop. But watch and wait for the 5 minute candle to form. Now, could you do it on a 1 minute? Absolutely. There's people that probably just shorted this down on a 1 minute from 8.11 right down here to scalp it down. You know, again, same thing I was telling you earlier about scalping on a 1 minute. Just do the same thing, you know, shorting. You can see kind of tweezer tops right back down to the moving average lines. So someone probably shorts kind of came in, scalped that down, got out. If you want to do it safer, you wait for the 5 minute pattern, just like you would for the 5 minute bull flag that you're looking for, or ascending triangle. You're looking for the 5 minute reversal candle short below it using a close above it as your stop. But again, you want to see ideally more profit potential. Let's take a look at UWT. So you guys see how this is creeping a little bit? It's just creeping here. So at this point, you want to see, is it going to get above that 1575 level, then see if it can get above that 50. And just remember, you're contending with the top of that wick over there at 1581 as well. Watch and see if these moving average lines will cross, get above, and get above that 1575 level. Again, remember, head, left shoulder, right shoulder. I'm still watching ESV and EXTR for possible pullbacks to the 9 EMA. For that might be the 5 minutes that I'm looking. It's in the range of the possible 5 minute pullback to see if it'll hold. So I want to see if ESV will hold that $8 range and see if the 9 EMA will catch up on the EXTR. I'll show you those in a second. All right, so now see right here, it's right below that 1578 marker. So now at this point, now you got kind of an inverse head and shoulders on a 1 minute. Moving average lines are crossing. Now you got to see, is it going to pull back and hold, or is it going to fail? All right, see this? Resistance, resistance. Now what's it going to do? See that? Kind of moves up, hits the 50 SMA, comes right back down. See that? Resistance. Now see if the 9 EMA will push it up and get above, or if it's going to fail. Head on the right here, left shoulder, right shoulder, head and shoulders. See that, guys? You guys watching? This is where you got to be very well aware of patterns. Head up here at 1591, 1581, left shoulder, bounce back up. Now you have a head and shoulders pattern. Doesn't mean it can't go, but now the pattern's messy at this point. Didn't close above the 9 EMA. Moving average lines didn't push it up. And now at this point, I'm looking at, I don't like this right now. So I'm going to keep this up on my chart to the side, but EXTR, this is one I'm still looking at right here. What I'm looking at with this one, high is 615. Again, overextended. I want to see, is this going to give me a flag? I want to see if this 9 EMA will catch up. Right now, it's far away and this thing can dump. I want to see. This is where I look at. I'm not liking it at the moment. It's a bit overextended. So this could still go and take off. You can call that almost a cup and handle. But this is where I kind of want to look in here and see, okay, if I wait for it to come back down to the 9 EMA, it could just still take off, right? So that's the risk. Now if I look in here, this is, I'm looking at it more further now. You just kind of look at this here. This is one to keep an eye on. It's intriguing if it can break out above that 1613-ish area. You can see kind of cup and handle-ish. You can look right here. If you were to look at a trade here, you could use that 610-ish area, 613 to 610 as a possible stop. You guys see hitting resistance here? So this can still fall. This is why risking out here on a 5 minute, it's still farther away. So this could still easily fall back. At this point, you want to see if it's going to break out and continue. So, and look at ESV. Son of a gun. See that? As I was showing you EXTR, ESV. Look at what ESV did. See that, guys? Right there. That was it. See how quick you miss it? I had that up the entire time watching this thing, and bam, it just took off. Why did it take off? Right here. Son of a gun. Hope somebody was watching this. Right here. I like to typically see more of a green hammer or a little bit better of one, but 805 down to $8. Look at that. 805 right up to 822. Scalp that, take that 15 cents, get out. Watch for a pullback. That's exactly what I want to try and teach you guys. That was it. So you can say, oh, big deal, 10 or 15 cents. Well, look at that. You just were able to be patient. It took an hour. It's not the greatest setup in the world, but like, look, it's safer. You had a stock moved up, formed a pattern, came back right to pre-market highs at $8. You had a 5-cent candle right here to here. 5-cent candle, 805. Look at it, still going up. So 805 to, yeah, it's 825. I mean, there's 20 cents. You could scalp between 10 to 20 cents within here. Right off that 5-minute bull flag. You guys watching? Are you paying attention? Oh, son of a bitch. You're right. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're damn it. UWT just missed it again. See, this is what happens when you try to teach and... Oh, son of a... There you go. I was just looking at Tony. Son of a... Yeah. This pisses me off, man. Look at that. UWT, I hope you guys are watching. Watch this. So... Oh, man, I'm pissed off right now. Oh, man. Well, I hope you guys are making money off of this. Right here. Here was your move. Right here. Patience. Right here on, like I showed you guys on ESV. 5-minute setup. Held $8. Your 5-minute candle. It broke above. Take your profits up here, guys. This is an evening star pattern. It's going to pull back. It could take a 1-minute bull flag and run. This is a warning that it's coming back down. Big, huge flag bull. Take your profits. Right there. You had a freaking 20-cent 5-minute candle. Not even. 3 minutes. Take your profits. UWT. For those that were paying attention. What did it do? I look away. And look at that. See, this one on a 1 minute didn't really give you that setup. But if you waited, this is where you got to be quick at times, right? If you had the patience. This is, see, for me, it took off, but I still, let's see, 1567. Maybe you have 10-cent candles here. I like to see a more of a definitive close above this. I wouldn't beat myself as much up on that one. I mean, as you can see, this now high a day is at 1589. So now, let me guess, does it hit trade ideas? I don't know if it hit trade ideas. No. So, I'm a little bit more upset with ESV. This one, I'd be okay myself getting shook out, I'm okay more with this one here because of it was still kind of a mess within here. It didn't give me as great of an entry as I wanted, right? So you can see there's still, I mean, it's not really a decent close above the 9 EMA. So I wouldn't beat myself up as much over this one. ESV, that was more my setup. This is not my style. Kind of, you could say, okay, that's a U bottom moving. If you want to risk off that, that's cool. That's your deal. Like I like this. Right here. Right here. That's what I like. Right here. There you go. Look at it, guys. Still could be in this stock. The 5 minutes. So now at this point, you could play that 5 minute. Watch for a 5-minute candle reversal. That's what I like. Right here. Flag, 5 minute, small candle risk, 5 cent. Now you decide, hey, take your profits if you want. And look, I got faked out by that 1 minute. Again, happens. That was possible evening star pattern. Or you can wait for the 5 minute. Watch for a 5 minute reversal right here. So it's extended. At some point, it'll want to pull back. It could still keep going up. We'll got to watch and see. But this is what I like right there. This is textbook. If you guys are listening, if you're new, this is trading. It took almost an hour, and you can see I was teaching you guys. This is where it's freaking annoying sometimes. We're trying to teach. It's just it'd be so much easier if if we just pumped stocks to you. It would be so much better. Right? It'd be so much easier if I just shut up, didn't try to teach you every day, and just pumped the stock and just silent when it came up, take a trade, and then tell you I got my entry so you follow me in. You guys would have pumped the stock up for me, and then I could have saved my voice today. Oh, I hope somebody took that trade. Oh, Vladdy, thanks. So right here, just to show you guys, 5 minutes, a potential warning right now. Again, big flab pull up, maybe doing a reversal. And UWT doing the same thing. Right here. You guys see that? Big flag pull up, possible reversal. Buy at support, sell at resistance. Buy low, sell high. All right? What does that mean? Right here. Not that one. ESV. What is support? What is resistance? Support down here. Resistance out here. New traders, if you're listening, you don't buy out here, even if you miss the move. This is overextended, overextended. This is resistance. So if you're a new trader and you wonder why your account drops whenever you buy a stock and you don't know support and resistance, this is probably why. Because, again, you probably listened to me showing this stock this morning. I didn't tell you to buy or sell. I didn't trade it. Too busy trying to teach you guys, and then I missed a freaking entry on it. That's beautiful right here. Beautiful freaking move right here with time. Do you guys see this? 5 minutes. A full 5 minutes, as well as another couple minutes over here. You have several minutes on a high float stock that just took off and went up 20 to, what is that? 25 cents. And you could have scalped 10, 15, 20 cents. We had a crap day, nothing going on, bunch of garbage, patience, just looking at 5 minute setups. This is a warning candle here, shooting star. This is a warning potential reversal. Can it go and break out above 832? Yes. But this is still resistance. It's not support. If it cannot break 832, that would be tweezer tops right here. Tweezer tops, tweezer tops. Don't be surprised if it doesn't break 832 if this goes and does a potential double top failure. Watch for a couple things. This is going to fail and double top and fall below that 826. Now, hey, shorters, right? This is where you look for shorting. Watch this. You guys will call me a hero when I'm done with this. Right here and right here. Easy to borrow. Means it's shortable. If you were to look to short on something like this, overextended, past the 9 EMA right here. 9 EMA down over in here. There's 826 to 813, 13 cent potential move. You have a candle right here, 826 to 832. It's not a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. I'd like to see a little bit better, but if you were to risk a short, you could take a short below that 826 candle using a close above 832 as your stop. Obviously, it's still near the highs. It hasn't fallen here yet. This is where you can decide to wait for a 5 minute setup potential or take a 1 minute and say those are tweezer tops. Let's watch what happens. So, again, if you're new, pay very close attention to what I'm teaching you right now. This is a warning shot candle. That's a shooting star. Warning, saying warning, this is potentially going to come down. Right down here, that red line right there, above that red line. I don't know why it's not. That's overextended. Warning, what goes up must come down at some point. Warning, overextended. We're going to take our profits after this breakout. Does it mean it's going to fall right away? No. You could have a fake out. You could have a couple more candles. This is a warning shot. Warning shot, very overextended. You see this top and this top that are two equal tops, actually a third equal top. Possible tweezer tops. This 5-minute candle hasn't formed. This could break out and continue, or it could pop up a few cents, fake out, come right back down. This is where if you're trading a 1-minute setup, you got to be very quick on it, and many times you can get faked out. Tweezer tops, but the candle hasn't formed. This 5-minute candle hasn't formed. This candle may close above this candle. It could potentially negate that tweezer tops and continue. Or, again, now drawing your trend lines right here, kind of at angular resistance, right? You guys seeing this stuff? Right here. Angular resistance, shooting star, possible tweezer tops, possible reversal, overextended, far away from the moving average lines. This is where you can come in and you can say, okay, I took my scalp on the way up on this flag on the way up, and then potentially, if it fails this 9 EMA is catching up more. I'd like to see a little bit more, but if this gave you a shot, that's another potential short on the way down. You can scalp your 10 to 15 cents on the way up and potentially 10 to 15 on the way down if it fails that shooting star. But you can see it's getting close to this 9 EMA. This can be an ascending triangle breakout. This 5-minute candle hasn't formed yet, and this can go and still continue up. But just be aware, if you're new, buying out here is resistance. Very risky. UWT, keep an eye on it. At 16, right above $16. Watch if that's a bull flag on a 5-minute. Tweezer tops on a 5-minute. This is a warning. Triple top, triple top. This could fail. Got to watch and see. This is just a warning. Could it still go up? Yes. Look, there's still. So this is where you got to say, okay, this is very risky. Right here. It's moving up. Resistance right around that 836. Again, told you guys this was just a warning. It's either going to take off or reverse. Look at UWT for those that were watching that one. Possible flag or a pennant pattern forming. Look at that, $16 as support. High a day, $16.25. I'll show that one in a moment. Here you go, guys. Look, see that? Little bit of a move up. Watch the retest. Let me show you guys UWT, and then we'll come back to this one. This is kind of what I was looking at right here. I'd like to see it closer down here to the 9 EMA. But if you look at it, 613. So this one's moving up at this point. It hit off the 9 EMA. You can see high of day. 1625. So just keep an eye on this one. If you looked at this candle, 1613. If you were to risk off this one, you would use a close below that as your stop. It's just a little bit overextended. It's riskier because it's further away than the 9 from the 9. ESV. Keep an eye on this bad boy. This could be a potential short when this thing rejects. You guys seeing this? It's squeezing up top here. Possibly may want to reverse at some point. You could even see a head at 834, a left shoulder at 832. If this rejects, that could be a head and shoulders pattern down to the moving average lines. So if I was a shorter looking at this, I'm just letting it play out, guys. You can see there was no close. There was no no drop below that shooting star. There was no drop below this tweezer top yet. So now we got to watch and see what this one. Is it going to form a spinning top or a doji? And then will price fall below this? If so, then you would use a close above that as your stop. We'll let these 5-minute candles. Patience, patience, patience. All about patience. I'm going to give it another 10 minutes or so, guys. I want to just show you. That's a potential shooting star pattern on this right here. Look at that selling volume on a 1 minute. Watch potentially at some point. This thing is going to probably want to at some point come down. Remember, 850, that whole dollar amount. Right here, at this point now, is it going to reject it at 836? If it falls below 831, you could use a candlestick close above 836 as your stop. It may still continue up, it's just got this overhead resistance. There we go. So at this point, guys, I'm looking at ESV not as a long right now. I would look at this one as a potential short at some point. And there it goes. Still keeps going. That 5 minute, remember, still taking off. You can see price didn't fall below that 831. Now we'll keep the drawing up again. So what I want to show you guys is a lot of people, the shorts on a 1 minute, they could have gotten caught here because they saw that shooting star, a lot of red volume. They may have taken it when it kind of got up here and rejected and didn't wait for it. This is where taking trades on a 1 minute, it's a lot riskier because sometimes you get faked out. Look at this thing's just still going. But remember, just as I was showing you guys, price didn't fall below that candle, that candle, that candle, and still this candle. So technically, if you were being safe on trading this, or if you were going to short it, it still didn't have a fail below here as your right here. Now look at that, tweezer tops on a 1 minute. 850 is going to be resistance. I can see shorts on a 1 minute, maybe trying to take a short here on these tweezer tops. Just be aware they could get faked out as well. This right here is a stall. That 1 minute, like tweezer tops, it could go and take off. It's kind of like that, what the heck's going to happen? That little doji, that's a warning, but duking it out, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Is it going to go and break above and fake out? Or is it going to fall? Remember, see the 5 minute candle still holding. There we go, showing some possible weakness. You guys seeing this? Evening star pattern potentially here. If it fails this candle, watch for the possible shorts to come in. So you can see evening star pattern on a 1 minute. Many times it'll bounce. This 5 minute candle still hasn't formed yet, so that could be a fake out. All right, so now see if it's going to fall right below this level, this 833 level. Here's where you just zoom in a little bit. If it falls below 834, if you were to short something like this, again, you can see some. Now it's a little bit less of a window now, right? So now you're risking 6 cents to make potentially 10. Now the risk is just it's not as good. You can see the 9 EMA is catching up a lot more. So this is where I'd like to see more of a window. Do you see how the 9 EMA is catching up more? I'd like to see it down here a little bit more. Doesn't mean it can't still keep falling though, but just be aware of that when you're trading. See if it gets a move up and it rejects again. If so, this could be a kind of a head and shoulders on a 1 minute. Might be showing some weakness. Got to watch and see. Keep an eye on UWT on a 5 minute. It's right near that 9 EMA on a 5 minute. Watch if it bounces. Watch UWT. That $16 area. Right here. Just watching right here. See that? See if it gives you a little hammer. See how it kind of moved up? Look at all that 5, 10, 15, 20. You're 25 minutes later after that breakout. See if this forms a flag and continues up. Want to see a nice little hammer or a doji, something smaller off that 9 EMA. Still watching ESV for possible reversal if it fails that 834-ish area. If you guys are paying attention today with what I'm trying to teach you, you see there's a lot of patience with this setup, but you have a lot of time with looking at this stuff, right? ESV, that took to 10:30, took an hour to develop, right? So that was a good trade. Now it's showing some weakness and possible rollover. UWT, I didn't like as much as this breakout, but this we have to watch and see, might be another potential chance. You can see ESV, just to show you, shorting, guys. Look, what I show you guys, this is what you want to watch. Doesn't mean it's definitely going to fall, but here's where the shorts are really looking at it now. There's your Doge. So you had 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So there it is, right? So this kind of warned you, got up right below here. Here's kind of a potential reversal candle. If... Again, this could be a fake out. This candle hasn't fallen yet. Shorts are looking at this now. If this starts to fail, they might use a short below. See that? Maybe a fake out here. This may pop back up. So this is where it's kind of caught in between here. This is where, again, this is trading, right? Shorts might come in and take a risk here, and then it fakes you out and turns a bull flag and closes above here. That's what happens. That's why you want to have short, good risk management, right? So this could be a fake out. It could move and continue up, or that's where, again, you want smaller candlesticks, stuff like this. This may be a fake out, right? So you have a close below the 9, it's bouncing off the 20. Is this going to go and continue up, or is it going to start failing the 20? And then if so, you can see they had that one little candle drop below here. So now it's going back, bouncing back up. So this is where, if you took a trade like this and you took a risk and a short down here, remember, you can use a candlestick close above that 840 as your stop. You can use a 5-minute setup or a 1. You can see now you have a candle close above here. So this could be a fake out. There's a bounce back up. And now you can see this 9 EMA and a 5-minute is getting a little bit closer to this area as well. So we're going to watch it for a couple minutes. See that? Little fake out back down, bouncing right back up to this candle right here. Still has angular resistance. So this can go and continue above, and that would fake the shorts out, or this could be faking them out, and then it just gets a little pop above and still continues to fail. Weakness. Now look at it again. Pops back up, falling back down. You have some selling volume. Look at doji. Watch this candle. For those of you guys watching Overstock, OSTK, it may be bouncing off the 9 EMA in a 5 minute. I said may because the candle hasn't formed yet. So it's bouncing right now. Again, like I said with UWT, 5 minute hasn't formed. It's showing some weakness. So got to watch and see. It's getting to be 11 o'clock. Some of these stocks, they're going to choose a direction one way or the other. You know, this one right here, ESV, is saying, hey, we're not making any newer highs here. What's going to happen? I want to see this thing dump. But I want to show you guys again. I hope for those of you guys who are new, I hope you're learning a lot of stuff here today. The approach that I'm showing you guys gave you, if you notice, a lot of time, right? There's a lot of time. This ESV, what we've been looking at, this is a very high float. You can say, oh man, this took a while today, right? Well, again, if you think it's too long of time for you, exactly what I'm showing you here on a 5 minute, go do it on a 1 minute. That's it. It's that simple, right? These same type of patterns, go do it on a 1 minute. Don't look at a 5 minute, trade it on a 1 minute, scalp, get the hell out, you know, get in, get out, right? But you're seeing time here. So this trade right here, you know, if you got in this flag over here, it took an hour. Well, this thing moved up and there's time. At least you're not making, you know, you're not making trading decisions within seconds. Look at this. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You're about 30 minutes in and you have like the ability to decide what you're going to do on a short on something like this. If you were to risk off this and you got faked out or within here, you still have, look at this time, like even if you took a short, let's say here, you still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, 5 1 minute candlesticks to say, ah, shoot, did I get faked out here? Do I want to take a 1 or 2 cent loss? Do I want to stay in it? If so, like this thing may go for another 10, 15 minutes and then eventually fail, or this 9 EMA will catch up and it'll fake out. But you see how you have time? We're giving you time to make decisions to make your trades. Low floaters do not give you time. Again, we're not haters on low floaters. I personally don't like low floaters. That's just my style. I just don't like them. I like time. So I'd rather spend, you know, right here. Look at this. Here's a trade. It's got 3 million volume. You know, lots of liquidity to it. Slow as a snail. Gives me my chance. Think about it. If you bought 1,000 shares at 8.05 and sold at the top of this candle at 8.25, you made $200. That's a big deal. If you bought 1,000 shares of a low float stock and you don't know what the hell you're doing trading and you only have 3 seconds to get out of it and then you lost 30 cents because you don't know what support and resistance is, you know, that's going to make you vomit, like sick to your stomach. That's what happens with new traders. So again, with teaching you this stuff, this is the stuff you would translate over to the low floaters on a 1 minute setup. We share our trade ideas, screen share every day. We do our gappers, all that stuff. So like, again, we kind of show different styles, Dan, me, Creed. So we do low floaters. We show that stuff as well. I just typically show the medium to higher floats. And you can see this thing is just still trading sideways. And go back over to UWT, what I was showing you guys earlier with that one. Look at 5 minutes still. So this one's a little bit shaky. Look at that. One little fake out candle right here. I want to see it closer, right? You guys see how this is still farther away from the 9 EMA, still farther away. I want to see it closer, right in here. Let me take a look. I see Lone talking about AMD. Let's go take a look at that one. So, give you guys an example. If you guys were paying attention today with what I'm trying to teach you guys, knowing me and my trading style, where would I have taken a trade on AMD today? Bullish. Where would I have taken a bullish trade? Give you a moment on a 5-minute chart to show me where I would have taken it. And the answer is dun, 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 I wouldn't have. There's not a 5-minute setup here that I like whatsoever. You could say, well, how about this one? Well, look at it. It's kind of showing indecision. Too risky. Moving average lines are bearish. On a 5-minute, I wouldn't have done it. All right? That's just me. I was showing you guys, it's those flags, those ascending trend. That's if you want to be safest, right? If the setup doesn't come, don't take the trade. If the trade goes against you, that's why you have minimal risk. I want to show you guys a short on this stupid ESV, but this thing's being stubborn. It's creating lower highs, still at resistance. However, you know, still that 9 EMA is still catching up, but I was hoping to show you guys a short. It still could potentially fail, but you guys see here, again, I don't want to drill it in your head. If you took a short back here when it was starting to fail, look at all this time that you have. Time. You had about 10 minutes to say, oh, damn, this trade, I don't know if this is going to work out. I don't have the patience. This is yo-yoing back and forth. All right, I'm going to cut my losses. And then you take a, 2 or 3 cent loss. I just want to at least stay with this trade just to see what it does. To show you guys. See if it's going to continue or if it's just going to fail. So high of day is that 840. And there you go. This might be squeezing some shorts and faking them out. Or it'll form a double top on a 5-minute and fail. UWT. Still holding that 9 EMA. It's a red kind of doji off of it. See if it can hold that 16 level marker. See that? Faking right out here. So now it's either going to continue and get the shorts to cover, or it's going to be a fake out and then it's going to dump. Is it going to close, right? We want to see. Is it going to close above that 840? That's a very, 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 very important level to watch. Remember, like I showed you guys, if you took a short below that candle and used a candle close above that area as your stop. Here's that 1 minute area. This is that 1 minute candle. That's what is it going to do? Now you have a doji. No surprise, because nobody, it's that, the stall. Is it going to go and break above? Or is it going to fake out and fall back down what's it going to do? Right? So you have a candle right there. Is it going to close above it? Or is it going to fail? There it goes. 2 equal tops. And 850 now. Very important resistance. I'm going to wrap this one up in a second. This is just a very pivotal area for this stock I want to see. So now it is bouncing. It's going up. So now you have, this is where the shorts are probably, we're going to cover. Still doesn't have a 5-minute candle close above here, right? So that's where you can decide whether you're going to use a 5-minute or a 1-minute. Next up, 850 resistance. And there you go. So this is where shorts could get faked out on that, right? That one little candle drop below this one. But technically, you know, if you took a short and you got faked out, you still had 20 minutes to make a decision the other way. Or 15 minutes or so. All right, guys. I'm tired. I talked myself to death today. I hope you guys learned something. If not, oh yeah, I guess I'm streaming again tomorrow. Then Creed will stream on Friday. So if you don't learn something from me, hopefully you learn something from those guys. All right, guys, you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Enjoy.